Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 691. 691. February the 12th, 2019. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tuesday. Okay, I don't know how many of you checked out Trump's tweets over the weekend, particularly on Sunday, but I really didn't have time to get to it yesterday, but I gotta say that some of his tweets on this past Sunday were some of his most epic tweets ever. I was rolling on the floor laughing. He was in rare form, and I don't have time to go through all of them because it was like 3 or 4 that were just absolutely devastating. But I want to read, I want to read my favorite Trump tweet from over the weekend. This was on Sunday, and this particular tweet he did right after Amy Klobuchar finished doing her speech, which many of you saw. She was standing outside doing the speech, and she's literally being covered in snow. And by the end of the thing, she was so covered in snow, she was like just covered in snow, and it just looked kind of creepy or weird or whatever. It seemed like she would have found an indoor place to do it and not put all those people through all that. But anyway, she was just standing there getting snowed on, and it was pretty funny. So Trump sends out this this tweet afterwards, and it goes like this. Well, it happened again. Amy Klobuchar announced that she is running for president, talking proudly of fighting global warming while standing in a virtual blizzard of snow, ice, and freezing temperatures. Bad timing. By the end of her speech, she looked like a snowman. Parentheses, snow woman. Oh man, it's so good I gotta read it again. Well, it happened again. Amy Klobuchar announced that she is running for president, talking proudly of fighting global warming while standing in a virtual blizzard of snow, ice, and freezing temperatures. Bad timing. By the end of her speech, she looked like a snowman. Snow woman. Oh man, I love this president. Well, the Democrats' latest ploy, the demo commies' latest ploy to avoid securing the borders is to reduce the number of beds by 30,000 used by Border Patrol for captured fugitives or persons seeking asylum. And what this means is that you'll have 30,000 detainees who will have to be released. If you have no place to put them, you must release them. This is just another way to release 30,000 illegals into the country. Of course, this is not going to work. Trump's not going to sign on to this at all. And what does this tell us? Well, it tells us that despite the fact that there are plenty of Democrats, demo commies, who realize that they're going to be paying a serious price if they come down on the wrong side of this issue. These are the demo commies who are in purple states, border states, places like that, red states, states where Trump won. These demo commies know that this is important to them to get this right. And it appears that the leadership, which would be Madam Botox, just simply will not allow Trump to have a victory, but at the same time, she is going to put a lot of these demo commies, many of them freshmen, put them in a very difficult position. They're going to lose big. Now, Trump's not going to lose, because even if they don't get this bill signed, Trump's just going to go ahead and do it through executive order, or some have said he doesn't need to even use executive order. He can find the money other places. He's going to get the wall either way. But I think that Madam Botox has entrenched herself so deeply that if she, I guess she fears that if the Democrats sign on to this bill and give Trump any type of a border wall, border fence, border barrier, whatever you want to call it, anything of that nature, that it will be seen by her party and by their supporters, by the hard left of the Demo Commie Party, that it will just be a big loss for her and her party. I think she believes, she's weighed it out, and she's determined that they will lose bigger by capitulating than they will by holding the line and and essentially killing the bill. I mean, this kills the bill. It's not going, Trump's not going to sign on to this, and she knows that. So she believes that they will be hurt less by killing the bill than they will by signing on to the bill. And this is the only thing I can come to conclude at this point. This is the only conclusion you can draw, because I mean it's a straight up or down, and this is all that matters to Madame Botox and the demo commies. To them, this is a political event. This is about 2020, and this is their calculation is based totally on 2020 and the politics. And they've obviously weighed the options, and they feel it's a less of a political hit to oppose it. Now, they probably feel this is like a win with their base, and it is a win with their base, which is the hard left, the demo commies, the socialists on the far left, which probably is half the party. But the moderates and other Democrats, particularly in border states, particularly in purple states, the kind of moderate Democrats, they say there's some blue dog Democrats, I don't know where, but it's not going to work with them, because they, like most people, if they have any common sense in their head, realize, and we saw the poll after Trump's State of the Union, 72% agree with his immigration policy. And enough people have heard from Border Patrol and all these people, and they say, yeah, we need all of it. We need the physical barriers, we need this, we need that. And so this is not going to play well. And I just, again, I think it's losing political strategy for essentially the party long term. But at this point, I don't think that Madame Botox cares. I think it's all about her at this point. She's trying to protect her personal flank. She doesn't want to cave and then have an uprising from her left against her. Because if Pelosi says, yes, I give you the thumbs up, you can go ahead and sign on to this, Trump gets his physical barrier, his wall, fence, whatever you want to call it, I think she fears that the left of her party is going to attack her and maybe try to, give her a vote of no confidence or something. She fears the far left of her party more than she fears, obviously, the moderate part of her party, and she obviously is playing the short game of a political strategy here than the long game. So again, this is all about Pelosi personally. She doesn't care a lick about these other Democrats that are going to have to fall on the sword in order to pacify her. And it's going to be very interesting to see what the fallout is from this, because it appears at this point that Pelosi has made the decision they're not going to give Trump the deal, which means Friday will come. I don't think he'll do another government shutdown. I think he'll say, okay, I'm going to go get the money somewhere else. And that'll, of course, be a battle. It'll be a fight, but he'll fight for it, and he'll likely get it. And they're building the border wall as we speak. Okay, so... but I'm thinking about after Friday, the fallout. Where's that going to go? I think that you could very well see the Democrats take a fairly big hit here, and Pelosi personally could take an even bigger hit. And she's sitting at 28% right now. Trump's at 52, by the way. She is at 28. I don't think she's got a very strong hand, but she's playing it like she's got the strongest hand going. So I'm not really sure what's going on with her. I mean, it just seems like losing strategy to me. And people get fed up with this at some point. They get fed up with it because they can see what's going on here. They can see Trump has made every possible concession he can make. He's made the case. He's offered everything he can offer. Nothing he offers is good enough. And I think most people eventually, with some reasonable people, common sense, including these so-called moderate Democrats, wherever they may be, they're going to understand this very well. I really see this as a huge backfire on Pelosi and the demo commies if they do not sign on to this bill and cooperate and negotiate and come to some meeting of the mind. So we'll have to see, but I'm guessing right now that after Friday, if they don't sign on to this bill, I'm going to go ahead and make a calculation that in the following week we're going to see the political fallout, and it's not going to be falling out on Trump and Republicans. It's going to be hitting the demo commies, and specifically Madame Botox. Well, the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, Justin Fairfax's employer, has now placed him on leave pending the investigation after 2 women have levied sexual assault allegations against him. Fairfax's employer is Morrison and Forster. They're a law firm with 16 offices throughout the U.S., Asia, and Europe. And it should also be mentioned that a couple of his staffers have also quit. So, I mean, and I didn't really see whether or not they actually brought the impeachment papers against him today. I haven't seen that pop up anywhere, but I know they were supposed to. I don't know where that is. But I just don't see this guy being able to last. And I think every day that he stays in this game, he gets weaker and weaker. So we'll just have to see exactly where this goes. But he's hanging on, trying to hang on. I don't think he's going to be successful. I think as soon as these women go public and someone sees their faces on TV telling their story, he's done. He is done. So we'll see, and we'll keep following the story. That's where it is right now. He's now been placed on leave by his employer, and his staffers are quitting. All right, we have Kamala Harris is now admitting to smoking weed. She says she even inhaled. Yeah, what would be the point of smoking weed and not inhaling? She says, jokingly, that half of her family is Jamaican. Is that a slight at Jamaican people? Is she stereotyping Jamaican people? Do all Jamaican people smoke dope? Because that's what she's essentially asserting here. That's a racist comment against Jamaican people. You're suggesting Jamaican people, because they're Jamaican, they smoke weed. That's what she's saying here, jokingly. I'm sure there's plenty of Jamaican people who don't smoke weed. And she says it gives people more joy. Gives them more joy. Okay. I don't really give a damn. People smoke weed or not. I could care less. Smoke all the weed you want. Who cares? Just don't drive if you're smoking weed. Do me a favor, and please, I hope you're not flying the airplane I'm flying in. Don't operate any heavy machinery. Don't try to do math equations and things and such like that. But yeah, if you want to sit around and listen to some tunes and smoke some weed or whatever, who cares? But if you're running for president of the United States, or you were the former attorney general and you've probably thrown people in jail for that, it's a little different. She continues to be a freak show. And I don't think she's even qualified to become president. Someone should challenge that. She does not meet the constitutional definition. I went through that day before yesterday. And as I said earlier, Trump is in El Paso. In fact, it's right now about an hour. About an hour from now, Trump will be giving his speech from El Paso. I'll be, of course, tuned into that. I'm sure many of you will be too. We already see that there's a huge line forming. The people began arriving 24 hours ago. There were 75,000 requests for tickets in an arena that only holds 8,000 people. So they are going to have the big jumbotrons out there as usual. Now, of course, we talked yesterday about the fact that Robert O'Rourke, the skateboarder from Texas, whose father-in-law is a billionaire real estate developer, and of course we know that Beto is the number 2 recipient of oil and gas money from oil and gas lobbyists in the Congress. So we can see that Beto is going to have his little deal down there. It'll be a joke, and no one will probably even pay attention. That's why he's an idiot. He doesn't realize that in the world of optics, it's like there's certain things you don't do. Okay, I'll give you some things. Like, as many of you know, I'm a musician. I played in bands for many, many years. There's certain things you don't do when you're in a band. Number one, you don't invite a band to be your warm-up act if they can kick your ass and blow you off the stage. Never invite a band who's better than you to warm you up. Never let your sound man turn them up as much as they turn you up. Never allow them to have all the great lights and backdrop that you have. You have to make sure that you look better and sound better. And hopefully you are better than your warm-up act. You never, ever, ever put yourself in a position to be upstaged. Never. But O'Rourke, in this case, doesn't realize, Robert O'Rourke doesn't realize that he's automatically upstaged before he ever takes the stage. Now, he can come in there naked as a jaybird, on a handstand, on a skateboard, whistling the theme to MASH or something. He can, do whatever he wants. He's going to be upstaged in this deal and going to look stupid. And quite honestly, he's at a place in El Paso, Texas, where we know for a fact that before they had a wall in El Paso, it was one of the most high crime areas in the country. And after they got a wall, it became one of the least crime ridden places in the country. He's a dope. That's the only thing you can say about this guy. He's a dope. Couldn't beat Ted Cruz. And as I said earlier, Trump is now at 52%. 52%, up 9 points. Now that's Rasmussen. I think if you look in the aggregate, you probably won't be that high. But then again, Rasmussen turned out to be the most correct in 2016. The polls are so rigged these days. But imagine how well Trump will be doing if 97% of the coverage of Trump wasn't totally negative. Imagine how high his numbers would be if he didn't have the Mueller witch hunt over his head for the past 2 years. If he hadn't been accused of coordinating with Russia to steal the 2016 election. Now just think about all this. Once Uncle Bob's witch hunt is over and he's forced to come out and admit that there never was any Russia-Trump collusion, and then we begin to start asking the questions, okay, then why do we have all these investigations? Why do we ever think there was? What was the evidence for that? And then we go back and dig into that, and we start exposing more truth. And as the truth continues to come out day by day, as we near the 2020 elections, Trump's probably going to be in the high 50s. He's probably going to be somewhere between 56 and 58, maybe 59. He could even hit 60% if he actually got fair news coverage. And then, once it becomes known that the entire Trump-Russia thing was a hoax, not only was it a hoax, but it was a frame-up run by the Obama administration, the corrupt officials in the DOJ and the FBI, completely coordinated, and probably the conductor of the entire operation, the rotten Reverend Clinton and the Democratic Party. When all these things are known, which they pretty much will be by the time we hit 2020, he will probably be over 60%. Unbeatable. And whoever he runs against in 2020, he is going to brand as a socialist. He's going to brand them as a socialist. And he'll have no problem doing it, because in order to get the Democratic nomination, you're going to have to go hard left to please the socialist and say all the things they want to hear. And so all those things that whoever the nominee is for the demo commies is going to have to become a socialist in order to get the nomination. And once they do, they can't walk that back. Trump's going to have all their speeches from when they were campaigning. He's going to have all their promises that they're going to have to make to the hard left to get the Democratic nomination. He's going to brand that person as a socialist. And I don't care if it's Pocahontas or Chief Spreading Bull. I don't care if it's Kamala Harris, the Jamaican, part Jamaican who smokes weed and inhaled and got her career started in the bedroom with Willie Brown. I don't care if it's Spartacus. I don't care who it is. They're going to be branded as a socialist. And they're going to be destroyed, because Trump will already be probably in the high 50s at that point and approval. And he's going to be running against a socialist. Trump's going to win in 2020 in a massive landslide. And the Democrats will be destroyed by then, because the truth will then be known to everyone. What they did. And we all know. Pretty soon, everyone's going to know. Jeff Carlson at the Epoch Times has written a new article. I recommend you go over to Epoch Times and read it. Here are some of the highlights. We learned that McCabe and Sally Yates gave pre-approvals of the Carter Page FISA. Pre-approvals. What is that? It's another one of them new terms, which apparently sometimes happens, where they actually give a pre-approval. In other words, they short-circuit the processes that the FISA is supposed to go through by having the top two people, in this case, Andy McCabe and Silly Sally Yates, gave pre-approvals of the Carter Page FISA, and this was before the application was ever presented. In other words, they gave it their thumbs up before the application was ever presented to Trish Anderson, according to Anderson. Now, because Trish Anderson realizes that her butt is on the line here. So what have we seen from the Trish Anderson testimony? Well, she is basically trying to put it all off on other people. A lot of people are going to be doing that. We learn that Rodenstein also signed off before the application went through the normal process. And we learn that even oral approvals were used, which we're told are legal. We know that Sally Moyer said that the Woods file in the Carter Page FISA had never been reviewed by anyone. They did not even go through and even review or go through the Woods process or look at the Woods file. No one looked at the Woods file on the Carter Page FISA. We know that General Counsel James Baker said he did not know about Bruce Orr's interactions, or no, he did know about Bruce Orr's interactions with Christopher Steele, but says he was not aware that Orr told the FBI about Steele's bias towards Trump. Also, we know that there were no hearings held in the FISA court for Carter Page. Baker says that that is not unusual. We need to abolish the FISA court. That's what all this tells us. That's what all this tells us. We need to abolish the FISA court. Well, it's time to watch the Trump speech, cutting a little bit short tonight. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with more TowerGate. You guys have a good night. See ya. Bye.